Charlie, that was nice.
Well, so we're talking about the African Cup of Nations, and we know it's going to take place from the 14th of January to about the 5th of February, I believe, and it's taking place in Gabon. I haven't been to Gabon before, but the sports people, the sports journals are always traveling left, right, center. They always go abroad. Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Tanzania, and the rest. Well, I have two of them in the studio. George Ado Jr. Junior, how?
I'm fine. And Cape Coast lady.
No, that's not abroad, so my friend.
What do you call it?
Uber steady. Please be steady. And then Redwan Asante, who is behaving as if he's reading. What are you reading?
I'm 12.
Okay, but Redwan, it's last 2 years we were here. Talked about the same thing and our hopes. Well, I told you we'll be going out the first round. We couldn't. I think we're lucky. We went to the finals ultimately, but beyond the focus on the Black Stars, entirely the tournament. We seem to have waited for it 2 years and it's here.
Yeah, you said we were lucky in 2015.
My view.
Yeah, but no. I think it's part of the game. When Manchester United won the Champions League in 1999, Alex Ferguson said, in winning, the Champions League, what is needed is luck and resilience. So it's part of the game. You need to be lucky, to win a tournament, a knockout tournament. But when it's a league format where you are playing 30 matches, is the strongest that wins.
I guess we haven't been, George. I guess we haven't been lucky since 1982. We won.
Yes, we haven't been lucky, and we need that. Especially, I thought the luck factor came in with the last Africa Cup of Nations when we're leading the penalty shootout by 2-0, clearly, and we lost 2 key penalties, and Ivory Coast came all the way to win. Sometimes it's difficult to understand when things like that happen. Nigeria, can you say they had a lot of luck in 2013? Because they had such a bad run when they started the competition.
I think they had a lot of luck.
Then after beating Ivory Coast, everything went round. How about Zambia?
Yeah.
Every team they played against played better than them right from day one, but they went all the way to win it. So I think it's a luck that's been eluding us.
But we have 4 groups, and quickly let's just go through the group. You have Group 1, Gabon, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, and Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, Gabon are hosts, and they're proving that anytime they host the competition, they're very strong. They have the 11th man right, the 12th man right behind them. The fans will be in there, so we expect them to go. They have Per-Emerick Aubameyang who will be leading the lines. So Gabon should be very great. Now, Guinea-Bissau are interesting. It's an interesting group there because they have a lot of players who have naturalized from other countries. So you might not specifically be playing players from Guinea-Bissau, say. It could be like the United Africa United there for Guinea-Bissau. So they're a proposition that you don't know a lot about. We've seen them play. They were very good in the qualifiers, and they could pose a little bit of a surprise in that one. But Cameroon are also quite strong where they're coming from. They clearly look to have moved away from the era where they had the old men playing for them. They are missing 7 key players in this, but I feel that in Group A they should be strong to go as well. And Burkina Faso themselves are also tough comments in this one. But I look at this clearly. I think that Gabon and Cameroon should safely edge this, but don't write out Guinea-Bissau and Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso in the tournament before last did very well.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did very well. That's 2013. We're in the final against Nigeria. They beat Ghana hands down in the semi-finals. Even when luck wanted to get on our side, I don't know what you call it, luck, or whether the referee loved us so much. Still, it didn't work out. They had a fantastic tournament, but after that, they've not been able to quite match their own standards. And the team that played in 2013, you look at what happened to them, even the lead up to 2015, all the players had gone to different clubs. They're just not on the same form, not getting game time and all. So it's a different Burkina Faso we're talking about, not quite as strong as the 2013 one.
Not as resilient. But in Group B, we have Riyad Mahrez, Algeria. Of course, he's the footballer reigning for the BBC, and then also for the
CAF,
EPL, I believe.
Yeah, PFL
well.
player, yes, and CAF player as well.
He's a strong man, but we know Tunisia is there. They're rivals in Northern Africa and Senegal, but we also have Zimbabwe.
It's a very tight group. For me, I think it's the group of death.
It is?
Yes, very, very tight. You've got North Africans dominating, there, and Algeria and Tunisia themselves. Tunisia, look like a side revived, lately, and they would like to go full length, to ensure that they get things, done properly. They've got a good coach, they've got a good trainer, and Henry Kasperzak, and he's, well experienced on the continent, and he knows
Very
how to
much
get.
so.
Yes, and you talked about Africa's Ronaldo. He's won everything, the PFA, the BBC, almost sweeping everything. Algeria are the side that can cause troubles. We shouldn't forget that, of the teams in Group B, you have two champions, and I think Senegal, undeservedly missed out on, the last time, the time that they made a huge impact, at the 2000 co-edition of the Nations Cup, when Bruno Meshu of blessed memory was part of the team that followed their success on the African continent to make a huge impact at the World Cup, the 2002 co-host World Cup in Korea and Japan. Zimbabwe have had troubles. Even leaving camp was a big issue. The players boycotted a dinner session until there was a form of agreement between the FA and the players, or the government saying they were going to pay bonuses. As it stands now, the players can still boycott the tournament if payments are not made before the start of the competition. So there's a bit of instability in the camp of Zimbabwe. The Warriors making a return since 2006 when they played with the Black Stars in the same group. But the big boys who always reign in Group B, Algeria, between Slimani and then Sudani, they scored more than 20 goals in the qualifiers. And Mahrez himself is in top form. Brahimi is in there. Algeria have got the men, on paper. But like football always goes, it's the reality that matters. It doesn't matter the stars you are able to parade. It's about how the.
But would you say that Algeria, on paper, they look like the team to beat in the tournament?
Yeah, they are. On paper, they look the strongest side. We shouldn't forget that they had a smooth qualifying campaign. They had 100% record in the qualifiers, and they just struggling in the World Cup qualifiers. But Algeria have been in top form. They just unable to click into full gear when it gets to the tournament, and it's a problem with some countries. You see, when you're camping players for days, some players react negatively when they stay at one place, confined, restricted.
I see.
In a place for days. Some players are okay, they can adjust, and you can see from the West African belts, I don't know why, but I think we need something of a football sociologist to tell us, why we are able to adjust that much. The North Africans, because of the laissez-faire, attitude they have, they've got freedom to roam about and do things. They need that freedom, to explode. Until recently, Ivory Coast were having the same problem, but with the Black Stars, we are accustomed to that rule, and we deal with that one perfectly.
All right, we'll come to the Black Stars. In Group C, we have Cote d'Ivoire, the DR Congo, Morocco, and now we have République du Togo. That's Togo.
Yeah, that's another interesting group. Ivory Coast clearly will be hoping to lead the way, defending champions. They've also managed their transition quite well from...
They look very strong too?
Yes, they look very strong. They've managed the transition from those who played, those who won. There's no Yaya Touré coming in, there's no Gavinho, but they have an array of great stars and young boys who have joined the team. So Ivory Coast are not just there for the hype. They also have something really to them. Then you have Morocco, who have Hervé Renard, the man who's carrying the magic all across Africa. He won with...
Over the last three tournaments?
Last 3 tournaments.
Okay.
One with Zambia, one with Ivory Coast. So, well, he goes to Morocco.
He should come and coach Ghana.
And, and Morocco, yes, they've been quiet. They seem to have also gone through the phases. They've got a working team. We saw the Morocco versus Ivory Coast game. The World Cup was interesting. The way it went was goalless, but you could see that Hervé Renard is up to something. So that makes that group really tight. Then Florent Ibenge is also doing a good job at DR Congo. He's got a working team there as well. They're playing very well. So I look at the 3 teams, and it's difficult to call. Would you say when Ivory Coast should edge it because they're there? Togo, I'm not too sure what to expect from Togo at this point. But I think Ivory Coast should make it to the next stage. And then it's between Morocco
and
DR Congo.
So your tip will be Morocco and DR Congo?
I take Morocco and Ivory Coast to the next stage.
Yeah. And then we have our group, Ghana, Mali, Egypt, and Uganda. Red one. I'm tipping Ghana to go our first round.
Oh, yeah, I mean, every team can go out at the first round. I mean, it's highly, possible for all, 16 teams, majority of them to be eliminated at the first round. I mean, I'm saying that it's a tournament, right? And sometimes you just can't. There's a cost in trying to tag pre-tournament favorites. I mean, just at the last major tournament we watched in the world was the European Championship, and nobody gave Wolves, a dog's chance, but they went as far as they could without, stellar
Even
players.
Iceland.
Even Iceland, came in with a shock, and the likes of Belgium we thought could go far, got eliminated, on the road. So it's complex in dealing with the Nations Cup, and now there's a fair distribution of talent on the continent as well, because we have more and more players moving from the continent to the major leagues abroad. Most of them have been or spent quite a considerable number of years in Europe, and so they've learned the technique and the tactics. Their intuition has been different. They've received a lot of coaching, tutelage from top coaches in the world. So players are coming very, very equipped with high credentials in adjusting to the game plan. So now we've got a fair distribution of talents on the continent. So it makes our group a very, very tight one, and that's how come you can see we struggled against Uganda in the World Cup qualifiers.
Even though they had more local players.
Yeah, because, now football is now variegated, unlike the 80s, the 70s, when the Nations Cup had only, teams coming in from one region conquering. And you can see that only 11 countries have won. Is it 11? Yeah, I think yes. 11 have won the Nations Cup, out of 53 on the continent. It tells you, how some people have held on to power for a very long time. Egypt 8, Ghana 4, Cameroon 4, 3 to Nigeria,
2 to Cote d'Ivoire.
2 to Cote d'Ivoire. The rest. Look at Algeria, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. Have all won once. Zambia, South Africa have all won it once. So it tells you that now we've got more and more people coming into the picture contesting. Just 6 years ago, we had Cape Verde making a huge impact in the qualifiers. Even Ethiopia, with home-based players, were doing very, very well, because at club football, the likes of Dedibit, and St. George of Ethiopia were all doing well in the Africa Inter-Club competition. Yeah. So they came in with a lot of players. I'm particularly surprised with Uganda, because their clubs, do not have the wherewithal of challenging with the big boys in CAF's inter-club competitions. But they've been able to build a strong team with a good coach from Serbia, trying to make things very, very difficult for opponents.
George, would you say our preparations have been the best? Because now we have to zero in for the next 5 minutes on us.
Well, it's difficult to say. I don't think we've had the smoothest of preparations from what I have known of the Black Stars in preparing for such competitions. And maybe administratively there were issues out there. Here the FA, the outgone sports minister, is he still outgoing? Okay, outgoing sports minister didn't collaborate well. We didn't get some things done. We don't have a minister designated at least, so let him hang on the last few hours of the job. But I don't think we've had a smooth preparation. I'm not saying we should have played Mali or Senegal or what, but I think we could have played some more friendly games.
Because, for example, Cote d'Ivoire plays Sweden.
Yes.
That's good enough.
After for the friendly games, warm-up games, it doesn't really matter the position, because you also have to manage the injury situation, and also players don't go in and hit it hard. But I'm saying that we probably could have had a more concrete plan. We could have started all of this a lot earlier.
No, I've heard that argument, but you have to look at where you want to camp and who is available. It's not easy to get opponents to play, especially in the winter break. If it were to be a summer tournament, that's European summer, not African
and especially
summer.
knowing that many of our players
play abroad, then you can get qualified opponents to play. I mean, I don't think we had the same issue when we were going to the World Cup, or anytime we were going to the World Cup. We've played, 3 or 4 test games with high-profile sides.
But even I'm not worried about the kind of opposition, because really the coach is looking at his players,
how they tend
to see how it's set. And you normally don't. I really hope that the team does not even play those high, especially when we are close to the tournament, because players can get injured. I think that it's fine with what we've got. But I was looking at the concrete plan, like what we've, knowing where we're going to be, how we're going to put this together. it doesn't come up to me.
One thing that I've consistently heard sports journalists talk about is the fact that our players are not regular in their clubs. Is that a concern? Because I think that if you have a cohesive team, why do you worry about whether...
No, it should be because you need players with the requisite match fitness, to play. I mean, football is an act, and the more and more you are to it, the more you get refined and the more you be on top of the game. I mean, you can't be on the bench, as training horses and then you don't play. It's a major concern, and that's going to be, a huge one, for anybody watching his national team. I don't think it's good to go into the Nations Cup with players who have not been playing. But let's look at it. Who's really not playing? Is it our goalkeeper? Yes, our goalkeeper. But we've had, examples of goalkeepers, and goalkeepers' cases are always isolated. So that one is understandable. Our defense, John Boy is playing. He's playing games. Jonathan Mensah is playing, games. Before the Russian league went on break, I think he played in more than 9 games. We are out of 15 or so. That's good enough. Harrison Affle is playing. He played games for Columbus Crew. Baba Rahman.
They're also on break.
Yeah, they are on break. Baba Rahman is, on and off. So it tells you that we've got qualified players.
You think we'll do well in our group?
It's just one. I think people were trying to look at how active our team was in 2015 before the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations, and they're comparing what we've got. That's where they say, okay, I don't think the players have been playing, quite enough. So 9 games on standard is the standard one, but maybe people felt okay.
But you still have confidence in the team?
Yes, I think we've got what it takes when it comes to Africa Cup of Nations. There could be a shock, but we have what it takes to do.
What's your prediction for the group?
Ghana and Ghana's group.
No. Let's wait. I think the first game will be 10.
You see, they don't even have confidence. Okay, my prediction for the Ghana group: Egypt and Mali. Ghana coming home. And that way for our wrap-up discussions on the African Cup of Nations. Remember, it's starting this very Saturday, the 14th of January, 2017. It will be shown on television countrywide, so please don't worry about where you get to watch it. Get all the live minute updates right here on this very channel, and then we'll be having the final wrap-up of the tournament on the 5th of February 2017. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.